So what have we got here? It's a Toyota 86. Oh, it's a nice long way down. In fact, it's a GT86, which is the top spec one. So $51,986 for this. What do you get? Well, it's kind of like the orphan love child between Toyota and Subaru. So it's a 4-cylinder, normally aspirated, boxer engine. And that is important because the boxer engine, as we all know, has a very low center of gravity. And this car needs a low center of gravity because it's a sports car. The 2017 model update has just given a little bit more power and torque to this 2-litre boxer engine. The manual transmission one that we're driving has 212 Newton meters peak torque, and that's in a really narrow band between 6,400 and 6,800 RPM, and a total of 152 kilowatts, and that's at an even more stratospheric 7,000 RPM. So you can tell from those figures and where they are that you have to work this engine and spin it really quickly to get the most out of it. We get a Torsen torque sensing limited slip diff, and you need that because I've noticed that even running around town, if the road is slightly greasy, it does break traction quite easily at the back. Toyota really wants you to buy the manual version of the 86. And why wouldn't you? It's got a great clutch, nicely placed pedals, chunky little gear lever with a short throw and a nice kind of mechanical click, click, click type feel to it. So as a driving experience, the manual would certainly be the way to go. But also, they offer a couple other incentives to choose the manual. One is that the manual cars have more power than the automatic cars. They get a few more kilowatts and a little bit more torque as well. Not much, but you know, we're always after a little bit more, aren't we? The other thing is that in the manual cars, when you open the bonnet, you are greeted with this lovely red painted inlet manifold for the Subaru sourced boxer engine, and that's a real treat to look at. There's no engine cover to hide it away under. It's there for everybody to see. In the automatic cars, it's just a black plastic unit, nowhere near as cool. And the other thing that the manual car has to offer that the auto doesn't have is track mode. You can turn track mode on, which dials back the traction control system and the vehicle dynamic control systems, so you can stuff up a bit more before the car catches you. The driving environment is really, really lovely. The seats are beautifully supportive, they're nicely sculptured, and they hold you nice and firm in corners. Your hip point is 400 mils off the ground, and the car's center of gravity is about 450, 460 mils off the ground. So it helps you, as a driver, really feel a part of the car. The steering wheel is nice and small. It's the smallest one that Toyota actually fit to a passenger car. I quite like this suede tops to the door, which matches the dash side on this side too, and even around the head unit. It's only a 6.1 inch or 6.2 inch screen. It's got a small screen. It looks like an aftermarket unit from Pioneer or Alpine or one of those things. It's got a real, I don't know, 80s/90s retro feel. It's nice that they haven't just sort of put in a regular, you know, current Corolla sort of look to the car. They've tried to give the enthusiast owner, who's going to be the person that buys this car, a feeling that they're sitting somewhere special, even if that means feeling like they're sitting somewhere a little bit old school. One of the changes to this 2017 model 86 is that Toyota's fitted a lower final drive ratio, which helps the car get off the line a little bit quicker, still only managing a 7.4 second 0 to 100k time. But also keeping it bubbling along at higher revs and in the fat of its torque zone when you're out being busy with corners. But the trade-off for that, of course, is that at motorway speeds, when you're just cruising along, the engine is a bit busier than you might expect. I'm doing pretty much 100 kilometers an hour here, and the tachometer's reading sort of 2,750 or 2,800. So it's probably 500 or 600 RPM faster spinning than most cars would be with 2-litre engines at this sort of speed. You'll see that it's quite a lumpy torque curve. It peaks first at around 3,000 RPM, then it drops well away at 4,000 RPM to start rising again around 5, and peak torque of 212 newton meters is actually in a very narrow band between 6,400 and 6,800 RPM. So it just shows that this car has a very focused style to its driving. You need to be keeping the engine spinning quickly to get the most out of it. Until you get up to those higher revs, you might have to be a little bit patient with the 86's performance. You get quite a induction roar when you give it some accelerator. I'll give you a little bit of a taste of that and see if you can pick it up on this microphone. I'm going to take it from 4.5 to 7. So yeah, hopefully you could hear that, it's kind of like a snarl that comes through. Wow, I've just turned off the main highway and I'm onto a back road now, and this car has just come alive in my hands and under my feet. It's a phenomenal transition to get off the regular roads that everybody else plods along. Listen to that noise. It's just great in corners. You can come charging into corners and literally look your way through. You don't even really make a conscious decision to turn the steering wheel. It goes where you look. Phenomenal. Really, really great. And the beauty of it all is that you don't have to be going all that fast to feel really, really excited about driving this car. You kind of want to stay in a gear, probably one lower than you thought you might be in, because you really want that engine to be around the 5 to 5,500 plus RPM range to really get the most out of it. Yeah, a lot of fun. That's lovely, really lovely. I'm also finding that at speed, the gearbox and clutch movements are nicer than I've found around town. I've found that the clutch is a little bit hard to judge the take-up point relative to the throttle, and I'm kind of not, I haven't yet perfected my gear changes in town, but out here at open road speeds through the twisties, it's all very intuitive. It's a short throw gear lever with a nice mechanical sort of grit to the motion, so you definitely feel that something's engaging really, as opposed to just some linkage that dulls it off into the distance somewhere. You really feel like you are connected to those mechanicals, and I really like that. The car is just a sheer delight to drive. I can't express that strongly enough for you. So what do we think about the GT86? I like it. I like its solitary focus, the focus on delivering a sparkling driving experience. You don't have to be going really, really fast to find the limits of the car. It hasn't got a whole bunch of power, but it hasn't got a whole bunch of tyre either. So you can explore the limits of the car's abilities and your own abilities at relatively modest speeds, and that provides a lot of excitement and great cheap thrills. Basically, you do not get a lot of what 52,000 would normally buy you. You know, things like lane keep assist and blind spot alert and, you know, radar controlled cruise control, things that a lot of hatchbacks and small SUVs now come bundled with. They're absent in this car. But those concessions to what we might think of as normal car comfort features, I'd be very happy to make, because what this car delivers as a sports car is just a beautiful thing. So thanks Toyota and Subaru. I really congratulate you for building the 86. You've done a hell of a job with this thing.